team. Took a bullet for the dream that we would one day all be free. Free from prejudice, free from sexism, free from bigotry. I die for creativity. I die for freedom to be free. I died and left a legacy. Oh, but baby, I still live through technology. After the sun, then comes the rain. And after the sun will start shining. Black tears of pain, and tears of pain, and tears of pain, and a dash of struggle. Just be patient. Your destiny will manifest. Yes,
Oh my God. What the fuck is this shit we finna listen to? Girl. It just never ceases to end, does it? It just never ceases to end. I just laugh. What's up, Queens Wrestling? What's up, Roll On? What's going on? I just laugh at when. What's up, Rico? Damn, everybody. I need to go live on this phone. Everybody get them notifications on this bitch. Hope everybody's well. Listen, if you have not went to my YouTube channel, I would advise you to go ahead and go. Okay, I just did a live about an hour or so ago in reference to this black trans woman, unfortunately, being assaulted, girl, by people in her own damn community. What's up, Roki? But after I got done doing that, what's going on, Cam? After I got done doing that, I was scrolling through my YouTube, and again, for those of you who don't know, I've been doing some commentary these past 2 days from a YouTuber by the name of Tough Topics Podcast. Beautiful, beautiful melanated girl. I'm talking about naturally beautiful. She don't need makeup and heavy stuff or whatever. She's just naturally beautiful. She takes care of her body on the inside, and when you take care of your shit on the inside, okay, just like a real good dushed out bottom, girl, if they clean on the inside, it's going to be an amazing experience. It's going to radiate on the outside. So I've done a few commentaries on her videos, and I did one. The last one I didn't finish the entire live, because baby, y'all know how I get down on BubzDaGawd. I'll sit here for like take an hour and 30 minutes worth of content, turn that bitch into 6-7 hours worth of stuff, because it's so much. But I guess she took this clip from that conversation and she put a visual to it, which I do like, because as an editor, the way to get your point across, you have to show people what it is that you see from your perspective. So I can't even be mad at that. Okay, I'm not even mad at that. But what I am mad about, though, is how people keep equating queer people's experiences to being communist. Because black people and queer people and women and other groups who we have historically seen been ostracized. I mean, hello, we just had a video that just came out today. That's not an extreme situation. That is an experience that unfortunately a lot of trans women of color have to go through. And then on top of that, this is a ploy in a way to literally demonize the equality or the reconciliation that has been done to these groups of people. Just like how black people want reparations for what has happened to their ancestors. Well, it happened to them. It ain't happened to you. Meanwhile, because of the Homestead Act, a bunch of motherfuckers in middle class right now have been eating good for generations. Not off of money that's theirs, but off of money that belongs to black people. And now that it's time to give back, now it's time for reconciliation, we see that one group does not want to do that. And I don't give a damn how many queer people, how many black people self-actualize, love themselves, rise to the occasion, becomes a T.S. Madison, becomes a Hope Giselle, becomes a Lil Nas X Saucy Santana, becomes a popular individual. It still does not make you exempt. Okay? It does not make you exempt from the trials and tribulations of bullshit. Even in the Bible, it reads that God is not a respecter of person, which means that there is no title that you can have that makes you exempt from the human experience. Hell, if his own son had to go through the bullshit, what do you expect you're going to go through? So anyway, this is going to be from, again, Tough Topics Podcast. I appreciate her. I appreciate people that can think and effectively communicate what it is. So when I come across people who can effectively communicate, then we can get somewhere. But she took this clip from an individual by the name of Reckless Ray De Niro. And Roki, you know who that is? The Timu version of Brian Gumble. Okay, him. I forgot the name of the nigga girl who was the kidnapper from the movie All About the Benjamins, when they kidnapped that one dude and held him and put him in the shower rod and shit. Talking about he was going to blow his motherfucking stomach out by putting a water hose in his mouth and turning that bitch on full blast. Yeah, him. He explains what communist is in his own way. And the things that he was saying, I was like, wow. Like, I get it. You want to believe you're this alpha male, you're this winner, you're this person that knows all this stuff. But when we was on the platform, it seemed like you didn't really know nothing about queer people. That you literally sit up here and disregard queer people's experiences because you think they're linked to communism, because queer people want to be accepted, even though they feel like, oh, queer people are accepted. Maybe white queer people, but as we have seen in the live that I did earlier today and on my Instagram story of that black woman, trans woman, going through what she went through. And she had to keep walking even though these people kept following her and throwing things at her. That this is still a situation that happens. And because we are the quote-unquote 1%, don't you think, dumbass, that means that the situations of abuse and oppression happens more times than not? The smaller the community, the greater the chances of those things happening to them. And the stats prove that, unfortunately. And for those of you who don't know, if you go to Google and you go to aclu.org, girl, I'm going to read this real quick before we get into the actual of this video, okay? And I might download this and edit it and put it on Instagram, put it on YouTube, because I haven't done an edited video in a while. And this was last updated on September 22nd, so only a few days ago. In the last few years, states have advanced a record number of bills that attack LGBTQ rights, especially transgender youth. The ACLU is tracking these attacks and working with our national network of affiliates to support queer people everywhere. While more states every year work to pass laws to protect queer people, state legislators are advancing bills that target transgender people, limit local protections, and allow the use of religion to discriminate. The ACLU will not stop speaking out against these cruel attacks nationwide. Queer people have a right to live in safety. They have a right to thrive and the right to be treated with dignity. Now, the ACLU is tracking at this moment in time 496, almost 500 anti-queer bills in the U.S. Okay, and they have this filter here, even here in goddamn Michigan, girl. I know there's 7 to 9. Let me look at Michigan real quick, since I live here. The states that they have are Alabama has 6, Alaska has 5, Arizona has 11, Arkansas has 9, California, Colorado have 1, Connecticut has 2, Florida has 10, Georgia has 5, Hawaii has 5, Idaho has 8, Indiana, where I want to fucking move, girl, eventually has 18, Iowa has 29, Kansas 14, Kentucky 11, Louisiana 4, Maine 4, Maryland 1, Massachusetts 2, Michigan 9, I'm gonna get into those, Minnesota 10, Mississippi 25, Missouri fucking 48, Montana 8, Nebraska 4, Nevada 2, New Hampshire 4, New Jersey 6, New Mexico 1, North Carolina 11, North Dakota 17. Girl, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So let me go ahead and look at Michigan real quick before we get into this video. Because apparently queer rights must mean that communism is coming now, according to some people with this goddamn blackula ass hairline. Other anti-LGBTQ bill. Let me read this because this is in Michigan. Where's it? Oh, I can't see it. I can't see it. What the bill analysis? Let's do it. The bill analysis. The bill analysis. Oh, it's not gonna show? Let me find another one. Let's do this one. Girl, I can't look at it. Hold on, let me see if I can try to copy this link. Hold on. Hold on. Maybe that'll work. 1 second, y'all. Girl, how do you? Okay, I want the bill analysis. Let's do bill documents, fuck it. House introduced bill. Okay. This is House Bill number 4510, right? And this is dealing with the school code. Section 1146A, 1, subject to subsection. Second, a public school shall ensure that every multiple occupancy restroom or changing area designated for pupil use must be used by individual based only on biological sex. This section does not apply to an individual entering a multiple occupancy restroom or changing area designed for use by the opposite biological sex when entering in any of the following circumstances. So basically what they're trying to literally erase queer people's existence, because what the fuck does a trans woman look like going inside of the men's restroom? Don't you think that's going to set the trans woman up to get her ass beat? Because now she is in a bathroom that does not identify with the way that she shows up. And what is up with these ideas that queer people, trans people, are like fucking vampires and goddamn incubuses and succubuses and shit in Nosferatu, waiting in the darkest bathroom corner stall for you to be attacked in? Now, are there some people out there who, again, might use the whole trans experience and the awareness of it, and then they're not really trans, but they're just sick, perverted individuals who like to abuse women to dress up like that and say, oh, I'm trans, when they're really not trans and not living the trans experience? They haven't experienced the whole thing when it comes to trans and was just using that as an example to go into the bathroom. And if that is the case, call them out. But the issue is that there is a broad generalization placed on queer people. And the fact that Reckless Ray talks about communism and queerness and how wrong it is and how this is a deviant behavior, but yet he don't mind taking his ass after he's done with his dance company, going to gay bars and shit so that they can listen to gay music, because you know gays have the best music. Sound like the church, girl. I want you for your gifts. I want you for your time. I want you for your talents. I definitely want you for your tithes. I want your money. But as far as your humanity is concerned, leave that bitch at the motherfucking door. Anyway, let's get into the video.
Very much so.
Can you
100%. Like
some context of like of why you said it, like what's happening to make you even think that that's a possibility or that it's happening?
Oh, 100%. So the entire identity politics game of this is my label, this is what it is. It's the new age evolution of communism, because original communism was separating into two groups. It's the have-nots against the haves, and it's us versus them, and like we've just got to take over the means of production, which you still hear espounded, the UAW, all these people that want indefinite raises because they made decisions and they don't want to stick with them.
This is the issue that I have right here. Do you even talk to these people for them to understand, like, girl, what? How? And if we're gonna play that game, is it safe to say that during the 60s and 70s that black people and queer people and women and anti-war was communism? Would we agree if that is your logic. Because what's happening right now is the same shit that happened in the 60s and 70s. I keep telling these niggas with these 60s and 70s earth, wind, and fire, always and forever heat wave ass hairlines, girl. I keep telling them to do their research. Again, the Black Panther movement, a lot of things that a lot of black Hotep people like. Yeah, the militant part. Fred Hampton. Okay? And Huey Newton were both individuals who wanted to work again with politically minded queer people, women, all that stuff, because they understood that the system was affecting them. All these people, especially black people, let me speak for me, okay? And for the majority, because at the end of the day, the majority of the community, and I'm safe to say, feels this way. They simply just want to be able to have the pursuit of happiness and to be able to live their life just like everybody else. I don't know why there's this ideology that queer people or that the oppressed groups are trying to become supremacists. Now, there are some black supremacists out there. There are some queer supremacists out there. There are some women supremacists out there. And I don't believe in supremacy. Because I see, and we have seen throughout history, what happens to people who amass all this overwhelming amount of power individually. When Black Lives Matter came out, the response was all lives matter. Okay, so if all lives matter, what's wrong with actually making sure the black lives are okay so that all the lives can matter equally? But we actually see what the fuck they mean when they say that shit. And even with here, the UAW, I remember I was watching a documentary where there was individuals who worked at Amazon, girl, who were working long as 13, 14-hour shifts, had to do all this type of stuff, and they weren't even being paid correctly or paid rightly for their work. The wages were not matching. And on top of that, we are the people that make your company. If it wasn't for workers coming into your company, you wouldn't have a fucking company. So if the people who are working are telling you about their experiences, wouldn't it be better to make sure that the people that are working for you are happy, are satisfied? I'm not saying that they need to be making as much money as the goddamn boss of the corporation, but goddamn, can they at least make enough to be able to live a comfortable life so that when they get off work, they can still live life? And that's why I say when it comes down to slavery in this country, especially with black people, we were the blueprint. We were the prototype for this system of slavery that's on all of us now. He's going to speak about how communists are using queer people. They're using queer people. And then when they're done with you, they're going to kill you. But what queer people is saying is that it seems like no matter where we go, for the most part, y'all will kill us, especially if it's a man expressing feminine energy or just anything feminine energy in queerness. Even me as a same gender loving man, even though I say bitch, girl, I do indulge in the gay lingo because hello, it's a part of the fucking culture. How many of these niggas grew up saying show right, show enough, all this other type of shit, let's dig it, all this other type of shit? What's going on here by Avery? What's going on? But I still show up in the way of what you would consider the social construct of a man. Even my energy, I can walk out into the public and blend in to where you wouldn't even know that I'm queer. But how does that work for somebody who is naturally feminine? Or somebody that just feels comfortable being in their feminine energy, whether it's clothes, whether it's makeup, whatever the case may be, it becomes a problem and an issue. Do you get what I'm saying? And then people create these fear-based narratives around it. To the point to where, like the video that, again, I shared on my Instagram story and I did the live on YouTube, to where there are groups of black men that will sit here and literally terrorize and antagonize trans women. What's going on? So let's continue.
But what you have now, and like that was a means to divide a people amongst themselves, and then if you take out the rich people, you've taken out the power structure in that country. Communism can sweep in, and then what ends up happening is everyone ends up starving, a bunch of people end up dying, and it's never us versus them, because once you get rid of all the rich people, then it becomes, well, you've got a few more shekels than I do. We got to get you up out of here now.
Wouldn't it be okay? Well, wouldn't it be safe? Wouldn't it be safe to actually deal with the people who are egoic in that way and deal with them? The problem is that in the issue is that there are people who have a whole bunch of wealth, first of all, that's not theirs, because let's not act like America has not done some horrible, heinous shit and has stolen and taken away from people, even its own goddamn people. And what happens is that there are people who hoard the money. They don't share their money. They come up with these ideas that, oh, there won't be enough food for everybody. There won't be enough water for everybody. Meanwhile, babies are being born. I think Mother Nature knows what the fuck she's doing if she's allowing people to walk upon her goddamn back way before we was here and even after we're long gone. But the fact that human beings have to pay to live on Earth, girl, first of all, that's ghetto. And second of all, since money is imperative in this system in order to live and to survive and to thrive, unfortunately, with things you want to buy outside of yourself, there is an issue when there are people who don't have opportunities or access to that money, or they have to sell their souls or sell themselves out in order to get into those spaces. But let's continue, because I guess the queer people are wrong. I guess we wrong, girl.
It's working its way down until the civilization just collapses. So what they've done now is they've ingrained themselves here in the school system. You can look this up historically. We have people that were sympathizers. Ardent, outspoken communists in America. Wow. 20, 30 years ago during the
sympathizers. Cold War. Okay, so if that's the case, if it's sympathizer and they're sympathizing with people and you shouldn't sympathize because sympathizing is a communist tactic, okay, then I guess it's safe that say that nobody should sympathize you. Why should we care about what the fuck you're saying? So you have people who are sympathizers who sympathize with the oppressed groups of people so that the oppressed groups of people can overthrow the government and then therefore have themselves overthrown because they're greedy and want everything? Or could it simply just be the fact that black people and queer people and women want to be able to be who the fuck they want to be as long as they're not hurting you or anybody else? That's simply it. We always talk about these extremes. Bitch, where is the motherfucking extremes? Call those individuals out. You need to be doing YouTube lives and everything saying, hey, BubzDaGawd, all these other queer content creators, y'all need to talk about this person, get on this person, talk about this extremist, or you bring the extremist up on your end. But see, what happens is that the extremist is just a catalyst that they use in a po-piss ass way to literally create a blanketed, generalized perspective on queer people. And even on Black Men Unfiltered, girl, when I was on that panel for the gay agenda, girl, we can still see it and feel it, girl. It's obvious. I think it's the problem is that now the rich and powerful people are the ones that have the word no removed from their vocabulary, girl. Michelle Williams came in with Beyonce and Kelly by the way of God, girl, and said, girl, if Jesus say yes, nobody can say no. And really show you the whole God is not a respecter of person. Then y'all gagging. Because again, y'all thought that song was just for y'all. No, that song's for everybody, boo. But let's continue.
Sympathize with the Soviets and followed toe with who they supported here in the United States with the Soviets, to the tune that they were making bombs and planning to kill 20 to 30,000 American citizens to overthrow the current system at that time, 30, 40 years ago. These are facts. These people did not go to jail. They got given positions as heads of college. Do your research. These things happen. So what they've done...
Hell yeah. Just like how when the slaves during the Civil War, girl, put in the work to actually become free because that was the goal. That was the conversation that they had. And when the time came to pay up, the individual who promised him that was assassinated, he was murdered. and then someone else stepped into play who was actually a known racist. And all that money that was supposed to be given unto black people were given unto them. And even when black people swallowed that motherfucking shit, because it was a kick in the face, bitch. But they did have some sense of freedom now. They didn't have really the money, but they had the freedom. And they were able to go ahead and work their way up to create things like, for example, Black Wall Street. And look what happened then. Queer people, black people, women are not going to act in the way that you want them to act. You're going to have to learn how to love your damn self so you can allow these people to self-actualize and be. But let's continue with this perspective.
They worked on the model, and they said, okay, this us versus them, the working class versus the rich didn't work during that time period because people had decent lives. You could work and be middle class and have a good life. So you weren't motivated to go just take out everybody who's got more stuff than you. That didn't work then. Fast forward.
Yeah, because some people, that's what they want. They want money. They want to be able to be happy and to be satisfied. Did we not see some of the crime rate go down since Miss Carisha Please came through? Because black people were getting money. And we even had black people say that, wow, this was the most money that I've ever gotten in my whole life. It took a damn shame that it took a damn pandemic in order for me to live somewhat the quote unquote middle class. Or being able to manifest financial security and stability to where you can also make sure that your necessities are taken care of, as well as do the things you want to do. And I think Miss TTP said it in her last live, or this live she was talking in, that unfortunately it seems like a lot of people are working poor. They're not middle class or working middle class. They're working poor because inflation is rising in this bitch. Are gays getting a discount? And if so, please, somebody let me know. Did I miss a card? Did I miss a payment or something? Is there a queer card, girl, that gives me discounts? Like, let me know. Like, is that where the jealousy comes into play? Like, these individuals simply want to exist like everybody the fuck else. It's that goddamn simple. This whole demonizing aspect is bullshit. And like I said before, and the question that I asked, so is it safe to say that the 60s and 70s, the Black Panther movement, the Civil Rights movement, right, the gay liberation movement, the women's liberation movement, anti-war, in the context that you're speaking in, Reckless Ray, is it safe to say that during that time of 60s and 70s, girl, was also a communist time? Despite all the facts and the information that the oppressed groups of people have, and they showed, it's still a communist thing?
Did was identity politics. Well, now you've made these groups. You got the LGBT community,
4K,
black. You've got women. You've got cis black men. You've got black women divided against them. So they've segregated this out into all of these. You get to pick your victim mark.
I love how y'all try to put the blame on everybody else instead of including your damn self. We know that black people also participate in queerphobia and homophobia. And y'all love creating these groups. See, I'm the one that be trying to bridge the gap. I'm the one that be doing commentary on other people's stuff in hopes that they will listen to what's being said and will try to collaborate so that we can find the gray area of understanding here. I do that. I don't know about y'all, but I do that. So I'm actually trying to do what I can to help bring forth the inclusion of the actual everyday person who is just trying to live life, because y'all be so focused on the extremes that y'all forget clearly about the other or the majority of queer people who literally are just trying to live their best life. Y'all skip over that. Y'all give energy to this bullshit. And queer people, just like they have been unfortunately in the past, girl, have been collateral. And I'm going to read what I read on my live that I got from this Instagram page called Armed Equality. And it says this: the call to split TQ plus from, because there's even queer people in queerness, girl, who don't like, who feel the same way that Reckless Ray and them do, that there is this agenda to just do all this horrible type of shit, and that to prove that, hey, we're not those gays, we're not them, we're not them. But I want those individuals to listen, because I know they're listening too. The call to split the TQ plus from the LGB is not new. Acceptable gays have tried to distance themselves from queers, transgendered, and non-binary folks since before those words existed. Yet, acceptable gays were not spared in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, no matter how subtle, rich, or famous they were. They still got their asses beat. They were still outed and arrested under sodomy laws. They still lost their jobs. Their names were still printed in the papers. They still lost their homes under immoral clauses. They still couldn't marry or serve, and acceptable gays still died of AIDS in droves. Today's LGBT gays are not enlightened or groundbreaking free thinkers, no matter what social media says. They're just cliched bootlickers with no sense of history. They believe this split would spare them, but our persecutors are just working their way backwards through the LGBTQ+. Those who hunt us always come for the entire motherfucking community. Bitch. Let's continue.
Tally up your victim tokens, people. And then they go, well, you're marginalized against this other group, and then we're marginalized against this other group, and at the top of the hierarchy is cis white men. They're the enemy of everyone. And then after if we got rid of all the cis white men, the next tier down is cis white women.
Who said getting rid of cis white men? Of all cis white men. I just want certain cis white men in positions of power who obviously are using that power in a destructive way to have their power removed. I'm not saying for me, all cis white people, because there are cis white men, cis white women during slavery, girl, who were able to call out the bullshit and put their lives on the line to help these oppressed groups of people. Just because we ain't in chains physically does not mean we're not in some sort of mental or emotional chain when it comes to this system. Like, the evidence is there, and I get it. You're a winner. I don't let nothing hold me down, and that's fine and that cool. That don't mean that your ass is not exempt, pimpin'. I love myself too. I hold my head up high too, even though I'm short. I hold it up high. But it still does not make me exempt from experiencing a hate crime. I'm sure Sandra Bland didn't know that she was going to have her life taken from her. I'm sure Trayvon Martin didn't think that he was going to have his life taken from him. I'm sure all these other countless black people were not thinking that their lives were going to be snuffed out, but we don't want to call that out because they were thugs anyway. They were degenerates of society, so who really cares if these people fucking die? See how sick and twisted that is, and really antichrist that really is? That's why I say some of you motherfuckers who are believing in religion and Christianity, girl, if Christ came back, he wouldn't know who the hell you motherfuckers was, bitch. Who is you?
Right? Then you get down into the LGBT community because you got some white men in there, right? And then you got some white women in there, right? And then after you disseminate that down, you get to work all your way down until the society collapses. And the way that this works is they make everything so terrible that as a society, the society has collapsed, and they go, we need something else. We need to fix this. And then they come in and they go, hey, communism, we'll fix this. We're the communists. We can fix this. The first thing they're going to do, the first thing that they will do, if once this society collapses and if they win, is
not if it clashes if they win, girl. So the way you speaking with such conviction, you need to say win it, because the way you talking as if though there's no hope left, pimping. Like we're gonna, but you even said we're gonna burn. So now there's an if. Where does the if come from? So do you even believe what you're saying?
They will immediately exterminate the LGBT community because they are actually repulsive to the movement.
Wow.
Because that is the highest level. That's the highest level of debauchery we have. But
so queer people are the highest level of debauchery that we have. Do you see how these people, when they get into these spaces, girl, when there aren't any queer people and they feel safe enough to speak, and it's the whole echo chamber situation, girl, that these individuals all of a sudden start really speaking their real true feelings about shit. But when they get on the platform with queers, girl, now all of a sudden there is some sort of, I can understand, because this is the same person who said that if I was out in public, girl, and I decided to kiss my nigga in public and share a kiss, that if somebody walks up to me and decides they want to do a hate crime against me, that he would be the one, if he was there, who would step in, bridge the gap to stop this hate crime from happening. But yet, and has said that he doesn't mind going to gay clubs and gay bars, bitch, if the music is good. Don't touch me, but they have banging ass music. So again, you will receive the gifts that they give unto humanity that benefit you, but yet call their experience based off of your perspective debauchery. That's how I'm looking at the camera right now, like this. I don't know if that's Snow, Miss Lady Bunny, because I've been watching some drag queen shit recently. Lady Bunny, her shit, she's fucking crazy, but she's funny as hell. Her and Bianca Del Rio. Wow, so queer people are at the highest level of debauchery. I'm going to remember that, so that if he and I ever have a conversation and he decides to pussy pop about giving queer people their accolades, hold on, wait a minute. Why would you give accolades to debauchery? That's like giving accolades to the devil, right? And you a Christian, you would never do that, correct? Correct?
Using them as useful idiots to snake in. Because their policies are destabilizing this country.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, the people waiting in the back that have the solution for you are communists. That's what they're going to come in with. They're going to say, give up control of everything. We'll handle it.
Girl, what? Wow. Wow. Well, I guess the communist shit ain't happening, girl, because like I read earlier, there are 400 and what from the use from that website that I shared. Almost 500 bills that are anti-queer. So I guess the communist shit is not happening. Anyway, y'all, I just wanted to respond to that. I was going to respond to it on YouTube, but I was like, nah, I already did my YouTube live for today. So if you have not seen that video, I suggest that y'all please go over there and y'all end up watching it. I appreciate it. I'm probably going to download this and put this on YouTube. I might keep it up on Instagram. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts and perspectives on this. I didn't know that queer people's experiences contributed to communism. If anything, I thought it just contributed to socialism. Which, yes, there needs to be some reconciliation, because there are things that are old. Like, basically give back the shit that you stole from people. It's that fucking simple, bitch. Everything that the devil stole, God gave it back to me, bitch. We just want to manifest that. And even socialism understands in certain perspectives how capitalism could work if we find a way to make it work for the benefit of the whole. Y'all just gotta stop being so fucking lazy and so fucking money hungry and actually tap into the flow of Christ. Because if y'all actually tapped into the energy of Christ, we wouldn't be dealing with this shit here. And you think that he gonna come back for y'all? Man, get the fuck out of here. Peace.
Love never dies, just choose to be born.